You're watching SBA Today. With all the latest news, stories, and advice, here are your hosts, Paul Long and Tonya Mazurek.
Welcome to SBA Today, presented by Res Title, your SBA title experts for the week of May 27th. I am Paul.
And I'm Tonya. And hey, let's go ahead and get into the news today.
But before we do, I heard a little rumor that you were interviewed by the New York Times because you are just so epic. Like, what am I missing on this?
I don't think it has anything to do with epic, Paul, but thank you. Yes. Lydia DePittis out of the New York Times actually interviewed me. Based on, guys, it's because she was watching, she said, the SBA Today show. She was doing research on an article, and that just was pretty daggum cool. So, yeah. But anyway,
Awesome.
yeah, it was just a short quote, but it was in regards to just basically how we see things going right now and how we think that they may go in the future. And so it was short. I'll just read it to you. It was lenders' views on the reversal vary, but larger banks tended to favor going back to the earlier rules. My quote was, "I think in the end it's going to be better," said Tonya Mazurek, who runs SBA lending in Colorado for Midwest Regional Bank. About loans, she added the ones that are harder, that aren't going through, probably shouldn't have. I mean, hey, she got it right. Yep. That's what I believe. What about you, Paul?
No, I'm 100% too. I guess I do kind of favor a little bit on the big banks that, you know, we should do what's right for the program. And I think these are the rules that we should. We have much stronger borrowers because of this.
It's like it's going back to a little bit more prudent lending. So some of the outlying players out there that were kind of, creating issues, to be honest. I mean, our thing as banks guys are to keep the longevity of the program. Otherwise, nobody wins if the program goes away.
No program, no jobby.
No program, no anything. So you know what? It might be a little tougher for some, but if at least we can keep the program, it's better for the majority. So
that's true. Anyway. Well, congratulations. Awesome to see that. That's always a good
you.
feather in your cap when you get interviewed by the New York Times.
Well, there you go. Thank you, Paul. Thank you. Anyway.
Well, let's see. What else we got here, Tonya?
Well, you know what? So Kelly Loeffler in the SBA last week announced the launch of the Make Onshoring Great Again portal. It's a free tool designed to help small businesses identify U.S.-based suppliers or U.S.-based manufacturers and producers. Now, not only are they saying, will it help small businesses to support American industry workers, it will also benefit job creators by helping them source domestic supply chains that will deliver shortened lead times. Well, that'd be nice. Improved quality control and reduced exposure to overseas disruptions. Now, the other thing, this kind of goes along with, as we know, the Revitalizing American Industry that they came out with earlier when it came to manufacturing and launched the Made in America Manufacturing Initiative. So this is aimed at expanding access to capital for U.S. manufacturers, promoting skilled workforce, and cutting $100 billion in red tape. Okay.
But no, I gotta give props. I think this is such a small, simple solution. It's helpful. A website to know who to go to. Like props. Like that's awesome. Sure. Like that makes common sense. It makes sense to me. And way to go.
Anything to make it easier, right? I mean, if you're going to change the rules and you're going to create this idea to bring things back to America, then give us a few more tools that make it simpler to do such. So I think it's amazing. I'm with you. So we're going to do our little thumbs up.
Thumbs up by us. That's right.
Anyway, what we got next?
All right. So Trump's Small Business Administration is making it harder to ditch the corporate grind. It was an article that came out this last week, and it was through Forbes, which I thought was very interesting. And I want to kind of go through these with you, Tonya, because it was really interesting. And so the first one, and what I did is I kind of, again, I don't want to read an article to you, but I pulled out some of the real life examples because they interviewed some really good people, like Matthias Smith. How you doing out there, buddy? And so, like, for example, a transaction fell apart because a seller wanted to remain in the industry, but refused to sign a personal guarantee to stick with his business, or a non-compete keeping him from starting or joining a competitor. That deal died. Okay, well, the first part, I got to give my 2 cents on this one. Okay,
Exactly.
I know your face. Okay, not signing the personal guarantee. Yeah, that's the rules. I get it. I don't like it, but it's the rule. The second part, I had heartburn with right from the beginning. If you're not willing to sign a do not compete, sell your business, and go do the same thing 2 miles down the road, I ain't your lender.
100%. Thank you very much. I wouldn't have done it whether there's a rule, a not rule. It doesn't even matter. That wouldn't even be on the table. That's one of the first things I ask.
Do not competes are critical. Like oh boy.
Yeah, so that one to me, I was like, yeah, I'm with you on the first, but yeah, the second, it's like, come on. Of course,
no.
Any bank, any lender worth its weight in gold, dang well better be asking if there is a non-compete, because especially wasn't it talking about specific industries and what it's. I mean, if they're going to close, they're going to make money on the business they sell. Then they are the business potentially, right? Their name,
right?
Open it. They are going to completely destroy whatever buyer.
Oh my gosh, yeah. So I would be really curious. And again, there's always exceptions to every rule, right? I would love for someone to put in the chat. Give me a situation where a do not compete is not appropriate on a business acquisition. I'd love to hear the story, because I have never heard one, but I know there's one out there, because again, with lending, everything's like, oh, well, there you go. In my, 26 years, there it is.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know about that.
Crazy. Another one on here is from Matthias Smith. Great job, buddy. Since the pandemic, a wave of buyers from Wall Street and big consulting firms have left the corporate world in search for small business ownership. One of the most popular targets has been HVAC. Duh. But while bank programs or an MBA might teach you the plumbing of the financial system, they don't prepare people to how to recharge refrigerant line, which is 100% right. Thank you.
Right.
Moreover, many banks won't lend to businesses without an owner who is licensed in that specialty. That would be me too. Buyers often solve this by keeping a seller on as majority owner, 100%. That way, the seller could stay involved and keep the license active. Now that option is mostly gone. That's true. Buyers will have to find an employee who already holds a license and is willing to become a part owner from the start, taking on a personal guarantee in the process, or someone willing to take an equity stake later, which the bank tends to like because it helps ensure the stay.
Right.
He's not wrong. That is a big deal. So the trades, the blue collar licensing stuff is a little bit of an issue.
Well, we've always liked, or at least I have always liked, I can't say we, but at least I've always liked to have a little bit of, if somebody comes into an HVAC and they don't have, let's say, the plumbing license. No, I had this a few years ago, right? And they, the people that took it over didn't have the specific license that they needed. And so, they brought somebody on basically as an owner in order to have that plumbing license. Yeah. I, as a bank, as you, as a bank, like that idea, because quite honestly, say a buyer comes in and takes it over. They don't have somebody that's got the licensing, or they bring somebody in and just hire them just as an employee and hire them. Well, they could leave.
Then what? The owner can't do anything. The business is shut down. 100%.
It's like, and so, anyway, I don't know. That's an interesting one. I mean, I wrote down a couple of things, like from the borrower's perspective. I did a pro and a con. Encourages building stronger licensed internal teams for the outset. Opens equity opportunities for key employees. Fostering loyalty, which is all true. But the cons I wrote were like harder to find the licensed professionals willing to take ownership and personal liability. So personal liability, I mean, come on,
that's a big thing.
Anyway, yeah. All right. So next, where let's see. Here we go.
Yeah.
You wrote on here where I think the SBA.
Oh, that was quoted. That was quoted.
Really,
You're reading a quote.
I did not see that as the quote. Okay, so I'm going to read it specifically. It's not from me, it's the quote. Where I think the SBA, screwed up is that they're asking a seller who wants to keep some equity to guarantee the full loan amount.
Yep.
Matthias says he hopes they reconsiders and allows prior owners to be responsible only for pro rata share of the loan based on their ownership stake. Well, I kind of like that. I could see that.
If you're going to be a 5% owner, then have a 5% guarantee. I think that could change a lot.
I don't know though. Do you see that happening? Because that's not typical SBA. If you are on as an owner and you have to sign on anything, it's a full-on liability. It's not, oh gee, just a little bit here and there. I don't know that I see them doing that. I don't disagree with it, but I don't see them doing it. I don't know.
Yeah, good point. Good point. Another problematic change is that the adjustment to the standby requirement, which determines how long sellers must wait before receiving payments on loans they provide to the buyers. It was a common way for buyers to cover the equity needed to qualify for an SBA loan, 100%. Previously, sellers often waited just 2 years, but in the new rules, the period extends to the entire term of the SBA, which is 10 years. Yeah. The consequences, of course, is that the sellers will be less likely to offer financing, leaving lenders with less assurance that someone who knows the business and has the financial stake in having it will still be involved. This, in my opinion, I like the 10-year no payments, okay, from a lending underwriting standpoint. Where I dislike it is if I have an employee that I want to sell the business to who does not have the 10%, I loved past tense, the ability of being able to do that partial seller note. I wish they would change the rules a little bit, that if you can prove that you have been an employee of the company for, let's say, 2 years, let's set a time period, then you can go down that route. But that's the only route, because don't you want to sell to your employee? Like, isn't that? Yeah. I mean, from a lender risk standpoint, sign me up. Like, I'm all about that. Tonya?
Well,
you're not playing poker well.
Well, you're talking 10 years. What about the 7As that have real estate involved? And it gets extended out to the 25 years.
I think in that case, you just wait to sell the real estate. I mean, honestly, I don't see that. If I was a low net worth employee buying into a company, I would want to buy the company first, forget the real estate. The real estate is a longer term play, and the seller probably wants to hang on to that for a little while for some cha-ching himself or herself. So,
because before we were able to do it and get maybe 2 notes and that type thing. You know, the shorter note for the equity piece, or you know, that went the length of it, and maybe something else. I mean, they can still do that. Do you know what I mean? Meaning they can still do the shorter equity piece note. That would be the length of the loan, the 25-year, and then just do another one as long as it debt service, you know, it services the debt for another amount to help that employee, but not have the same terms. Do you know what I mean?
No, absolutely. I think that's
that at least.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yep. That's another.
They don't have us making the rules, Tonya.
They don't. Okay. And I love this. So he gives me the one because he wants me to butcher names versus him butchering names. So he puts his out in like specific ways of how to say it. And then he sends it to me. And I'm like reading this going, I don't know. Anyway, it's a Paul thing. He loves doing this to me. Anyway,
I do.
Emmett Apollinario. I hope I got that right. Anyway, co-founder and president of Ohio Business Advisors says the rule changes are already causing deals to fall apart. Yeah. Oh boy. One recent example involved a $2.5 million sale that had been in the works for nearly a year. The buyer and seller had agreed on terms The loan had cleared underwriting, and all that was left was final due diligence. Uh-oh. Anyway, then the deal collapsed. The buyer, a UK citizen married to a US citizen, was set to receive a green card, but hadn't had it long enough to meet the SBA's new 6-month look-back requirement for lawful permanent residence. Oh boy. Paul.
Ouch.
Thoughts? Yeah.
Ouch.
Ouch. What are your thoughts on it?
I think there's a lot of, I actually, on this rule, I actually see both ways. Okay. This I'm very purple on, because I see that, obviously some people want to come over and buy a business, et cetera. And especially in this case with, the UK citizen, married to a US citizen, they just didn't have the green card and such. I guess the only thing I'm thinking on this one is if they're married, why couldn't the wife just do it without him? Am I missing something? Because then that would liquidate, and then you wouldn't have to do the 6-month look back. Am I?
Well, the buyer's a UK citizen married to a US citizen, but that doesn't mean that she has anything to do with the company.
Oh, okay, good. See, I was thinking a 50-50 thing. Well, if it was a 50-50 thing, then, but again, what happens if he has all the experience and she has none? But that could be, again, there's a lot more information I think I would probably need on this.
Well, there's a couple things I have on that. As far as for a deal falling apart midway, guys, that's going to happen. It happens in general. Think about, going through with a loan and then all of a sudden some back office rule changes and your loan falls apart. That happens. It's unfortunate. It truly is. And that's when others step in and help these guys. This is one where nobody can help them, though, because this is an eligibility rule. I don't know. I think, honestly, it's probably not the worst rule down the road. It's just a challenge right now for those who are in the midst of the process that thought it was going to be faster, or that might lose out on a deal because of it. To those, God, that I'm so sorry, and that's not good. However, I think down the road, I guess I don't see the biggest problem with it. Is that just me?
I think even more time will tell, but I do think that is killing deals, and I don't know if that's necessarily a good thing or a bad thing. I don't know. Whatever.
You're talking to me now. Like I even said in my quote for the New York Times, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes if a deal is killed, maybe it should be. Maybe it's right for them down the road. It's all in how you look at it. You got money in it and all that, and it goes away. Guys, I'm not talking about that. However, sometimes if it's challenging, if it doesn't go through, if there's something that holds it back, try to look at it from the standpoint of potentially you saved that borrower from trouble down the road. Yeah. Because, their seller wasn't going to sign a non-compete. No.
I know. Oh, my God. Don't get me started.
Oh, goodness. Yeah. Well, I think we have a couple minutes. Do you want to do the open discussion?
Actually, let's go ahead and wait on that one. We are actually going on vacation next week. Well, sort of. So we are not going to have a show next week. So I know, don't cry, calm down. I can hear it all right now.
All so sad.
So we're going to take a break for next week, and then we will be coming back on the 10th with a special guest who has been on here before, the silver-haired fox himself.
Awesome.
Mr. Lance Sexton will be on, and I think it'll be a great time for him to come on and give his opinion of the new rules, because they will be in effect. So I look forward to seeing my buddy on the 10th.
As do I. He is amazing, and we always have so much fun with him. So good job. I like it. Anyway, don't forget we're live on Tuesday mornings here on LinkedIn and or YouTube. Otherwise, find us on any of your platforms that you get your podcast on. Go back and look at any of our previous episodes and or the Art of SBA Lending and BDO show, because, hey, they're our buddies and are part of our family mix. Anyway, if you like what you do, if you like what we do, please reach out to Paul or I on LinkedIn. Questions, comments, you name it. We love to hear from you. And we will see you next week. So rise up with your big bad selves. And we think you're awesome. So see you next week.
Next week, the week after that.
Oh, that's right. We're going to see you in my next. No, I'm kidding. 2 weeks from now. See you then.
See you later.
See ya.